What do Keir Starmer and Liz Truss have in common? More than you might think, both faced rapid public discontent, both grappled with economic crisis, and both found themselves at the center of political storms. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor if you appreciate this content. Please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. But while Truss's tenure lasted a mere 42 days, Starmer is fighting to keep his political career alive. In this video, we'll compare these two leaders' journeys and ask the question on everyone's mind: is Starmer heading for a Truss-style exit? Or can he pull off the political comeback of the century? Keir Starmer's recent public apology has sent ripples through the British political landscape. The Labour leader's unexpected mea culpa left many wondering, was this a genuine moment of contrition or a calculated political move? To understand the context, we need to look at the events leading up to this moment. Starmer's leadership has been marred by a series of policy missteps and public backlash. His inability to present a clear vision for Labour has frustrated both party members and voters alike. His promise of a new chapter for the party has largely fallen flat, with critics accusing Starmer of lacking substance and charisma. But here's where things get interesting. Starmer's words during his apology stand in stark contrast to his actions. Over the past months, he spoke of reconnecting with Labour's roots and listening to the people. Yet his recent policy shifts have alienated many traditional Labour voters. This inconsistency hasn't gone unnoticed, with social media buzzing with skepticism about the sincerity of his words. The public's reaction has been a mixed bag. Some view the apology as a refreshing display of humility in a political landscape often devoid of it. Others, however, see it as too little, too late. One Labour supporter commented, "It's nice to hear, but where was this Starmer when we needed him?" Political analysts are divided on the motives behind the apology. Some argue it's a desperate attempt to salvage Labour's plummeting poll numbers. Others see it as a strategic move to reset the narrative before the next general election. As one analyst put it, Starmer is trying to rewrite his political story before the Conservatives do it for him. The full implications of this move are yet to be seen. But early poll data suggests a slight uptick in Labour's standing. A recent YouGov poll shows a 3% increase in Labour's approval rate following the apology. However, it's worth noting that this bump could be temporary. But Starmer's apology is just the opening act in what appears to be a broader attempt to redefine Labour's identity. As we'll explore next, the party finds itself caught between its socialist roots and a new centrist vision. Can Labour survive this internal struggle? And more importantly, can Starmer navigate these turbulent waters without capsizing the entire ship? The Labour Party finds itself at a crossroads, torn between its socialist heritage and a new centrist vision under Keir Starmer. This identity crisis isn't just a minor hiccup. It's a full-blown existential struggle that threatens to reshape the party's very essence. Can Labour survive this internal battle? Or will it fracture under the weight of competing ideologies? To understand the depth of this crisis, we need to look at Labour's history. Since its founding in 1900, the party has always grappled with tensions between its socialist roots and more moderate factions. The rise of New Labour under Tony Blair in the 1990s marked a significant shift towards the centre, alienating many traditional supporters. Starmer seems to be following a similar path, leaving many to wonder, what does Labour actually stand for in 2023? The conflicting visions for Labour's future have created a rift within the party. On one side, we have those who believe Labour must return to its socialist principles to truly represent working-class interests. On the other, and his supporters argue that a more centrist approach is necessary to win elections and effect real change. This ideological tug-of-war has left Labour members and voters alike feeling confused and disillusioned. Starmer's leadership has seen several key policy shifts that have raised eyebrows among traditional Labour supporters. His backtracking on nationalising key industries and his more cautious approach to public spending have led many to question whether Labour still represents their interests. One long-time Labour voter expressed their frustration, saying, "I feel like the party I've supported for decades doesn't recognize me anymore." The concerns about Labour's direction aren't limited to the grassroots. Several Labour MPs have voiced their unease about the party's current trajectory. While specific quotes aren't available, the general sentiment is clear. There's a growing fear that Labour is losing touch with its core values and supporters as the party grapples with this identity crisis. All eyes are on Starmer's next moves. His plans for a painful budget and a party relaunch suggest that he's aware of the challenges ahead. But will these efforts be enough to unite the party and win back disillusioned voters? Or will they further alienate those who feel Labour has already strayed too far from its roots? The stakes couldn't be higher as Labour struggles to define itself. The consequences for British politics could be far-reaching. Will we see the emergence of a truly centrist Labour Party? Or will this internal struggle lead to a fragmentation of the left? The answer to this question could reshape the political landscape for years to come, as Labour grapples with its identity crisis. Keir Starmer faces an uphill battle to rebuild trust and reconnect with voters. The party's struggle to balance its socialist roots with a more centrist approach has left many questioning its core values. Can Labour truly reinvent itself while staying true to its principles? Or will this internal turmoil lead to a fragmentation of the left in British politics? The implications of Labour's transformation extend far beyond party lines. When major political parties undergo such fundamental changes, it raises questions about representation and democracy itself. Are voters being left behind as parties shift their ideologies? How does this affect the political landscape and the choices available to the electorate as we look to the future? One thing is clear: Starmer's ability to address public concerns and present a coherent vision for Labour will be crucial. The upcoming general election will be a litmus test for his leadership and the party's new direction. Will Labour emerge stronger from this crisis, or will it continue to struggle with its identity? The answer could reshape British politics for years to come.